Welcome to Blood Pressure Log where your heart matters. This project is designed to automatically calculate the average of the first and second blood pressure readings, ensuring results for effective monitoring. The program includes some personal details of user, like name and age, together with the first reading and second reading. The reason why the blood pressure accepts multiple readings it is to have an accurate blood pressure results. Your Heart Matters blood pressure log provides detailed feedback on whether your blood pressure is healthy, need maintenance, or requires medical attention. With the medication reminder, once the systolic average of 120 or higher, it also offers advice on managing hypertension, making it an essential tool for maintaining heart health. For the person class, line 1 public abstract class person, declare the person as an abstract class. Line 3 and 4, the string name and int age is the private attribute of person class where it can only be accessed by a getter and setter method. Line 6, since a person with parameters of string name and int age is declared as in public, it can only be accessed anywhere, especially in other classes. Line 7 and 8 is assigning the value of parameter name and age to the variable name and age. Since the method is declared as public, it can be accessed from outside the class. The getName and getAge used to get the value of the name field from the person. The setter methods are designed to update the values of the name and age fields in a class. Line 21 and 22, the method name is setName, does not return any value. It takes one parameter name, which is a string, and set the name field of the current object, this.name, to the value of the parameter name. The this keyword refers to the current instant of the object. Line 25 and 26, for setAge is same as setName, which is a setter method that takes a parameter age, which is a type of int, and sets the age field of the current object this.age to the value of the age parameter. Using setter method, it ensures that fields are kept private and can only be modified by these methods, providing on how data is accessed or modified. For the blood pressure class, line 1 declares a class called blood pressure and is inheriting from the person class. In other words, blood pressure is a subclass or child class of a person class, and it gets access to the fields and methods defined in the person class. In line 2 to 6, declaring that the systolic and diastolic reading is private, that will store for the blood pressure reading and values must only be an integer. Line 9 and 10, there is the constructor for the blood pressure class. The super keyword calls the constructor of the parent class person, passing name and age to initialize those fields in the person class. This means that when you create a blood pressure object, it also initializes the name and age inherited from the person class. Line 13 to 16, this that first systolic is equals to first systolic, it assigns the value of first systolic passed to the constructor to the instance variable first systolic. Line 20 is the calculation for the average of systolic that comes from the sum of first systolic and second systolic and will divide by 2 to get the average. Line 25 is same as line 20 but in calculation of diastolic. First must calculate the sum of first diastolic and second diastolic and divide by 2. Line 31, the override method tells the method display details is overriding an abstract method defined in the parent class or a person class. In this case, it's overriding the abstract method display details that was declared in the person class. Line 32 to 35 is the printing of details inherited from the person class, which is the name and age using the getter methods in getName and getAge. From the line 40 is the starting range of the basis and results. Advice for the blood pressure using if-else statement to check where the average systolic and average diastolic is categorized based on the readings that is inputted by the user. The provide feedback double systolic, double diastolic is the method that takes the systolic and diastolic blood pressure readings as input and provides feedback based on common blood pressure categories. In order to print the following result and advice, there are conditions per blood pressure range that needs to met. Line 55, if none of the above conditions are met, the invalid result and advice will be printed. All the getter methods is returning the values for first systolic, first diastolic, second systolic, and second diastolic, while the setter method will set the value for the first systolic, first diastolic, second systolic, and second diastolic variable using the this keyword to ensure that the local method parameter first systolic does not conflict with the class level field first systolic. Getter and setter methods provide control access to these private variables for blood pressure class. Lastly, for the main class, starting from line 8, it consists of do-while loop and switch statement for the user to choose if 1, they want to log their blood pressure, or 2, if they will exit the program. It also consists of switch statement inside the do-while loop that consists of two cases. Line 30 is the log blood pressure method to collect the user details like name and age and their blood pressure readings. Line 51, a blood pressure object is created using the user provided data, and blood pressure constructor initialize the person field's name and age and blood pressure readings. Line 54, the display details method is defined in the person class as abstract. When the method is called on the myBP object, which is a blood pressure instance, the display details method in the blood pressure class is executed. Line 56 and 57 is method that calculates the average systolic and diastolic pressure by taking the first and second systolic and first diastolic and second diastolic readings stored in myBP, which contains the required data. Line 59 is the display of results for average systolic and diastolic. Line 62, the provide feedback method in blood pressure class, takes the average of systolic and diastolic pressure as inputs. It will be determine the blood pressure category of the user and provides advice with medication reminder once the systolic reaches from 120 and above. And lastly, line 65 is the closure of the program by thanking the user. Again, this is your Heart Matters blood pressure log, always ready to make your heart health your priority.